an honor to be here right again on your radio to get to serve you and then also get to bring forward topical issues that we get to discuss as they affect us as a people and a nation. Now, the big question is a program where we discuss and provide solutions to issues affecting us as a nation and as citizens. And the big question is broadcast on weekdays at 12:05 p.m. Do well to join the conversation by contributing or reacting to the big question and call us on 07000 or send a text or WhatsApp message on 070 You can equally send your contributions to our social media platforms on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, and also on YouTube at WFM 917 or log on to our website www.wfm917.com. I believe that work is going well today for you. And even if it isn't going well, you say, thank God it's Friday. So it is yet another opportunity for us to get to wrap up with our work that we've been on for, like, the rest of the beginning of the week. And I'm certain that your weekend will be great. But before we even go into weekend talks, away from that, I am not alone in the studio. I have got a very beautiful dark ebony lady. Very
Really.
admirable. Very admirable.
If only all of this, hype you're giving me could just translate to money, I would have been like the happiest person right
But now,
now.
but at least
Honest.
receive it now.
I do not say I'm not receiving it. I'm
Ahem.
just saying that, I need the money.
Ah, well, it's glad to have you right here with us,
It's
Rose
always a
Kesa.
pleasure. It's
Thank
always a
you.
pleasure.
All right. So today we're going to be discussing on something, that is predominant, especially in highbrow areas. And when I mean highbrow areas, I'm talking about places where there are lots of people living in there. For instance, neighboring Lagos State. So we get to see this happen all the time, and we're talking about street hawking,
Hmm.
or maybe you could say street trading. And we know that this is something that is prevalent, especially when you're going to Lagos, or you're going, especially if you're stuck in traffic, you get to see a lot of traders on the road. They're carrying their wares around, their goods and services. Sometimes we find it easy and handy, especially when you're stuck in traffic for a very long time. You're like,
Hmm.
I'm thirsty. If I can see water around, they come in handy, or you just want to choose something while whiling away time. So you get to just buy and choose something. But you know what? This has been an act that continues to be written off by the government of the Lagos state as one that must be taken off, meaning
Hmm.
that they want to have a more developed society and a more developed community. And they're saying street trading is and should be outlawed. More like saying if you are someone who, trades on the street or carries your wares up and down, hawking, it's actually illegal. It's actually illegal. And this is in line with the Lagos State Street Trading and Illegal Markets Prohibition Law in 2003. Now, while this might be looked upon by a lot of people as something that could help to develop the state more and give it a new face. For instance, imagine going to Abuja and then getting to see it definitely happens,
Mm-hmm.
but there's some areas that you don't get to see
Of
street
course.
traders and all of that.
Mm.
So it gives the society, the environment, a new face. But Rose, I'd like to ask you, do you think it's possible for this to be totally eradicated from our society?
Hmm. Totally eradicated. It would
Even with the
it's
laws.
it would take, even with the laws we're still
Mm,
struggling with it.
mm,
So for it to be totally eradicated, it's going to take a lot.
mm,
Like it's going to take a lot. First of all, a lot of things need to be put in place.
mm,
We need to make sure that we have a more structured society. We need to make sure that the government is up and doing,
mm,
because at the end of the day, most of these people walking on the street are actually kids.
mm,
All right, a lot of them are minors. For those who are above, once you're getting to 18, 19, maybe by then you must have gathered little money and you're probably opening a store somewhere or something
mm,
like that. You've gathered something for yourself.
mhm,
But there's some that just want to keep doing that because, I mean, maybe it kind of gives them more, and all of that. So there are different reasons why people continue to do this
mhm,
even after, because sometimes you find, well, at the end of the day, we get attributed to poverty. We get attributed
mm,
to poverty. we get to attribute it to things not working well in our society. If only we had a very well structured society, that okay, once I am grown, I get married. So even if I'm not very educated, at least there's something for me to do,
Mm.
provided by the government, or I'm able to get something well for me to do, then I would actually not see myself trade on
Trade,
on the
yeah.
streets, or
Mm.
maybe on highways and all of that, which we get to see a little bit. Just this Lagos, let me not call it small. Lagos is about an expressway. Let just one small traffic light is just, you just see, a lot of
Traders.
traders coming through. So that's to show you that there's a lot that has to go down. Can it be totally eradicated? Well, to an extent it can, but there's a lot that has to go
Mm.
on this or into this
Yeah.
before we can actually sit down and say it can be totally eradicated. Can we keep reducing it till we get to the place where we can say it's totally eradicated? Yes, of course. After all, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a
The
step.
step,
So
yes.
we need to actually start doing things a little, one
Mm.
step at a time, one step at a time, and then we get there. Even with the laws itself, it's one thing to have the laws, it's one thing to have all these policies, but
Mm.
implementing it is a problem.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
so sometimes when you say, okay, for instance, now you want to go to Oshodi and say, oh, I'm going to stop all the street hawking, all the street trading, and then you don't give
An
them an
alternative.
alternative.
Mm.
So that means the people you're driving away from Oshodi might just run to another end,
Mm-hmm.
and then once you get to that end, they're coming
They're
back to
coming back.
Oshodi. Because you haven't given them another alternative.
Mm.
So that's
Mm.
just what's happening. So if you want to actually nip this in the bud, then it has to be a holistic approach.
Mm.
It has to be like you're doing it. So if you have agencies or security agencies or the agencies in charge of this are coming up in Oshodi, then they should also be coming up in Katy. They should also be
Mm.
coming up in different parts
Yes.
all at once,
Mm.
so that you get to nip this in the bud. If not, and that will be after you must have said, okay, instead of you trading here, go to social place and trade. You have this, you have this, you have this to yourself. You do this. Once you do this, this is what you will get. If you
Mm.
do this, this is I follow this route, you take this. That's when you can actually see a change.
Rose, there were certain things you highlighted, and that's the fact. You mentioned something about the reasons why
Mm,
people go into this. First off, we could say the government is trying to eradicate, street trading and street hawking,
mhm,
maybe because, yeah, they want to develop the society and make it more, have a new face to how it looks like. Another thing is their complaints about, thieves and
mm,
robbers,
mm.
because some people come in the disguise of, I'm trying to buy this one, and before you know
Mhm.
it, and that's why
Your
sometimes if
phone
you get to places
disappears.
like Oshodi, they're like, madam, that's your phone where they hold like this, just put it inside your bag, oh, because
Mhm.
if you lost like this, and
Ah,
you will not see anyone. So
she.
it's part of the measure they are trying to also curtail. But
Yes.
let's also look at,
Mm.
why are people even going to it? They're going to it because they really do not have there's no other source of livelihood. And it's
For a
about
lot of
survival.
them,
And like you pointed out, poverty.
poverty.
So let's look at this. They're trading. They possibly have the option of having to rent a shop. Now,
Hmm.
how affordable is that? How much do they make from what they are selling
Hmm.
to be able to pay for a shop in a month? You get. How accessible are these products to, some of these places and some of these people, and especially the customers as well?
Mhm.
So those are things that the government has to put into perspective. But there are also people who say that it might just be a ploy to further make people lazy. That's to say,
Hmm.
if you take people off the street, because this is something that's easy for them to do, are we not increasing the number of people who will be jobless without doing anything, and then increasing the crime rate in the society, Rose?
Oh well, that's why I mentioned that before you can say leave the streets, there should be an alternative,
Mm.
because you can't just come up one day and say, "Oh, today, from today henceforth, no more." He can't just work like
Mm.
that overnight. So you must have put alternatives for them in place, because the same people need to feed. The same people need to go back home and give excuse me, give maybe the family something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, because I don't see how one is well to do or has something good he or she is doing. Well, maybe not so good, but at least it's actually keeping you alive.
Mm.
It's feeding you and your family, and then you say you will leave that just to go into the streets or go into the major roads we have,
Mm.
endangering your life and all of that. So you need to put things in place. You need to put alternatives in place for you to actually do that. If not, you're just taking them from frying pan to fire. All right. So one who is used to getting maybe daily 2,000, 3,000, is used to getting that amount daily,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden you tell the person to stop. It's not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be easy for that person to just wake up one morning and say stop. But that's why I said earlier, I also said that gradually, one step at a time, you get there, and all of that. Yesterday I was watching a video of this popular Nigerian movie producer. Is it Bolanle Austin
Yeah.
Peters
Yeah.
now?
Bolandi.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think. So she was talking to the Lagos state government, and she was saying that there are some places you go to right now in Lagos that you can't hold your phone.
Mm.
All right. So it's not like they'll probably snatch it away from you or anything. No. You would see maybe a gang of boys that
Mm.
will come up, like
And you be
six
so
of
you're
them,
so
five of
scared, so
them
you can't
come up,
even afford
surround
to.
you,
Mm-hmm.
and they tell you to just bring your phone. And there's nothing you can do about it
Mm.
because they're already armed.
Mm.
So, and broad daylight too. Though you give them your phone and then they tell you that if you want to collect your phone back, you pay so amount of money.
Mm.
And because you know how important that phone is to you, you get
You.
to pay. So that happened to one of our crew members. So she was just saying. So now, if you want to look at that, that is happening in most, places in Lagos. It's happening almost everywhere. In fact, take it outside Lagos, it's happening almost everywhere.
Mm.
Now, you might want to attribute that to unemployment, attribute it to a lot of things. But then again, like I would always say, it's easier for one to sit down and keep pointing fingers to the government. How about you?
Mm.
What are you doing?
Mm.
If you're talking about streets trading, if now Nigerians decide to say, I will not buy anything on the street again, you get it?
Mm.
I will not buy anything on
Mm.
traffic.
Mm.
When there are times where you will say when you're coming back from work, you're going home
You're
and
thirsty. You're
you're thirsty,
hungry.
you're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you're thinking of what to go home and to
Mm.
go and cook or take back to your family. And then in that traffic, you're seeing everything you need.
Mm.
So before you get home, you're seeing pepper in traffic, you're seeing tomato in traffic, you're seeing onions, you're seeing pasta, you're seeing a
Mm.
lot of things on traffic. All right. You're seeing chips, you're seeing different things that you could actually buy, take home, take for the night, and that's it. So once that's giving you an easy alternative.
Mm.
So but when you sit down and say, no, this is wrong, I'm not going to buy this. I would rather go stop somewhere where I'm supposed to stop and buy these things
Mm.
and get home. I mean, that's what every single country should do,
Mm-hmm.
or rather is doing, because at the end of the day, you have stores for all of these things. So it's way easier for you to say, oh, let me drive into this particular um mall or a store or the market, get what I want to get into your car, and you're off.
Mm.
But if in Nigeria here now, I mean, it's not the other day we're talking about that. If what if I decide to say I take, a sweet wrap and I'm done with it, instead of just throwing it, on the streets,
Like
why
just put it in my
put it
bag
back in
and
my
till whenever
pocket
you're
till
able
I
to find
get,
somewhere.
yes, a dustbin, or I get, somewhere where I could just place it, an appropriate place for that. If one, two, three, 5 people, 10, 15 people decide to do that, you see that the environment is clean.
Mm.
So at the end of the day, it's not enough to point fingers, to the government. Yes, we know that, there is poverty. We know that people are hungry.
Mm.
We know that there is unemployment. We know that there's a lot that the country is dealing with right now. But should we be people that will add to that?
Mm.
Should we be channels to actually um, be should we be channels that will add to all of this
Issues.
issues that we're
Mm.
facing in the country? If we all say, you know what, I think I'm going to be different, I think we should do things the right way, sometimes the government will be forced to do things the right way too.
You just pointed out a lot of things, and I really thank you, Rose. Now let's look at it also. Some people have the opinion that um even if the government wants to institute like outlaw street trading and hawking, the implementation part of it might be a problem, especially
Hmm.
with corruption. Now, sometime
You
in
get it.
2016, a man was actually run over, someone was run over by
Mm.
a BRT bus where he was trying to escape from, the officials and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a really sad experience that the person had to, in fact, there was a bit of a, like, more like a mob had to come burn
Mm.
down some buses and all of that. Now, in such a case, and putting it side by side with the fact that some people are also of the opinion that some of these officials, instead of really going by the rules, might decide, okay, if you want to continue selling, give me
Give me
3,000. Give me
something.
something. We see these things happen now, even
Mm-hmm.
with cars and
Of
papers. They'll stop you.
course.
Your papers. Hey, what? But if you just bring out something like this, you give them.
You're going.
So it feels like it's still the implementation part of it is, it might become a problem, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's still a danger on the person. Because
Mm-hmm.
imagine an official telling you bring 3K when your 3K is actually what you sell in a day, what you
Mm-hmm.
make out in a day. That can be problematic.
True. It really can be problematic, and that's why I said it has to be a holistic solution.
Mm,
Now, if you're bringing agencies up and telling them that, oh, anybody trading on the street right now should be picked up, how have you trained them
mm,
to actually pick this? Because the people that are going to pick up are also human beings. And you know that if they were given a choice in this life, they will not go to the street and trade.
yes.
They would prefer to be in an office where there's AC, or be
Mm-hmm.
in a big shop where they are the owners, and all of that. So if everybody was given a choice to make, nobody would want to go to the street to trade, because that's
Mm,
even a danger to your life.
mm.
Every day you're going out, you're saying, God, please help me make motor no jam me
Yeah,
today.
so
I beg,
my
let me
dear,
make the no carry me,
the
no pick
kind
me
the
today.
kind 100 meters race where they see
Eh,
people do on top
ah,
traffic. No, no,
they
no.
play.
Those
So I
people.
mean, there's a lot that they actually go through. Yeah, apart from those who actually use that to perpetrate evil,
Mm-hmm.
and do other
Mm,
crimes. So, but there are people who genuinely do this because they don't have any other option but to actually go. So, if you're saying, oh, security agencies should go into the street and pick up all of these people, what have you told them? How have you
mm,
prepared them
mm.
to face all of this? Because, like you said, some of them, that's just what they make in a day, and out of that 3,000 naira or 4,000 naira they make in a day, they will save something. They go still chop that day. They go still send money go
Ugh,
village, or they go still find one thing,
it's a whole
so that
lot.
they can actually leave the streets. I
Mm,
saw a video, I think sometime last week, about a man or who owns a bike. I think this happened at Keja Under Bridge, if I'm not mistaken. So I think he took a wrong turn, or he was about to pick somebody where he wasn't supposed to pick, and the security operatives there
mm.
just
Ambush him.
rushed him,
Mm,
ambushed him, tried to snatch his bike away from him, and all of that. And all is because maybe he has not they didn't see him like somebody who could actually so sometimes your eye, you go use your eye decide person.
mm.
So maybe they didn't see him as somebody who
Was high placed.
can yes, high place, or is willing or can be able to fight for
Okay.
himself and his
Mm.
bike. So the guy they were beating him, yeah. And but he was still struggling to stop his bike from going. All he was trying to do was to stop his bike, because that was his last hope. And for some of them, they have to go and collect this in a higher purchase and keep paying and all of that.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot that goes in there when you want to stop us. So how do you train your security operatives? What have you told them, in respect to going to pick people?
Mm,
If you're saying don't do this, don't do this. So how do you go about telling them what to do when they meet these people? You can't go ahead to pick people as if they're animals.
mm.
These are people who
Yes.
have homes.
Yes.
If they had a choice,
They would
they
not
won't do
be
it.
on the streets.
Sure.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much, Rose. Really, you really elaborated on a lot of very touchy areas right there, and I really just hope that the government would do something about it, especially looking at the fact that this is one that has been most talked about, especially in Lagos. And look at since 2003 till now, every successive government comes out
Mm-hmm.
to say we are going to ban, we're
Oh,
going to ban. So all the way from, it's been a long, long time coming,
it's
but
been.
I hope that they make provisions too, because the population in Lagos is
It is
massive.
massive and it is increasing.
So when
Like
you're saying take them off the streets, are you going to build somewhere for them to stay? Are you
exactly.
giving them the assurance that customers will be available? Are you making provisions for, it to be very well? What are the price ranges you're giving them to even attract them to come take up the spaces and all of that?
Exactly.
So let's look at all of these things. And I know that as a platform, we get to
Hmm.
advise government, and government gets to listen. So I hope to see something better
Yeah.
in the coming days. But I also hope that our government will put into perspective the fact that, just like Rose said,
Hmm.
if they had a choice, they wouldn't be on the
They wouldn't be
streets.
on the street.
And let's even look at it. Most of the people who oftentimes are hawking,
Hmm.
most times they've not gone to school. You know, they're coming from different locations. Some of them are even coming from like very interior parts of the state
Mm-hmm.
to come to the main places where they know that I can sell my goods and I can cash out today and all
Sure.
of that. So these things should be taken into perspective. I hope that today you've taken one or two, and like Rhoda said, I hope you can resist the urge of also assisting the government to institute their laws as well. I mean, it takes two to
To tango,
tango.
of course, it
All
does.
right. So this is how we wrap it up right here on the big question. The big question is a program where we discuss and propose solutions to issues affecting us as a nation and as citizens. Remember that conversations like this don't end here. We must continue to raise awareness on issues, continue to speak about the problems, and most importantly, propose solutions to it. Remember to be a patriotic
Take
Nigerian.
Nigerian.
Thank you so much, Rose Kesa, for joining
It's
us.
always a pleasure.
All right. My name is Miracle Philip. Do have a wonderful day. Good afternoon.
To sponsor this program, call the number 0816 480 7613.
Hey, children, we have something to tell you. Come closer. So, Children's Day is coming soon in May. And guess what? Women Radio is set to host